Okay, so some kind of bad news for the Niners. I mean, again, it's all about how you want to look at it,
Mm.
but CJ Beathard will start Saturday versus Arizona. Nick Mullens, this is the bad news for the Niners. Nick Mullens is out with an elbow injury, and it could require Tommy John surgery, which is very common in baseball.
Yeah.
Nate knows more about that. He could talk more about the Tommy John surgery. So just for Mullens' stats, in the 10 games that he has played in this 2020 season, he had a 64.7 percentage completion. He had 2,437 yards, 12 TDs, 12 interceptions. And then Betzer didn't play a lot this year, but he did have 4 games where he did play. And in his stats in these 4 games this year, he had 62.2% completion, 45 pass attempts, 332 yards, and 2 TDs. The Niners are actually looking on NFL practice squads for other QBs to add to their roster. And this was written by Nick Shook, around the NFL writer. So Nate, I'll go to you first so you can talk more about your opinion on this and the Tommy John surgery. What do you think about CJ Beathard starting and Nick Mullins
Um.
injury?
Well, first of all, I just want to wish Nick Mullens a speedy recovery and all of that. Before I get to the Tommy John surgery, I'll get to that in just a moment. Um, I'm gonna keep it real. It's at this point it matters obviously because Nick Mullens is hurt and they need him. If that is, if Jimmy G comes back, there has been rumors that he might end up getting traded, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But they do need him as a backup, so it's a bad in that way. So it does matter in that way. But switch doesn't matter because again, they're another team that's out of playoff contention. So I mean, everything that they do at this point doesn't matter because they're not going to be in the playoffs. But this does, in my opinion. I mean, even though they're not in the playoffs, doesn't matter. This matters because if Jimmy G leaves the 49ers, right?
Yeah.
Nick Mullins has to come back and he has to, step up for this team because like Jimmy G is Jimmy G. We all know how good he is when he's healthy. So Nick Mullins gonna have to show up and do his job. But that might not be the case either because now he's got the Tommy John surgery. Or he might be getting it. So I want to get to that. That's very rare in football. It's very, very common in baseball for pitchers. Pitchers throw very hard and they mess up their arm and they have to require Tommy John surgery to get their arm fixed. And some of them aren't the same after that. Which is why I'm worried about Chris Sale pitching this year. But we're not going to talk about baseball. It's just a very rare surgery for football. It really is. I don't hear a lot of football players getting Tommy John surgery. It's a very rare thing. Usually in football, it's like ACL tears, meniscus tears,
Right.
MCL tears. In basketball, it's Achilles tears. You see that a lot in football, basketball. Hockey, you see a lot of broken jaws and all of that, broken chests. Every sport has their most common injury. Um, but it's also very interesting to see common injuries from one sport be a very rare surgery in another sport. Like I said, Tommy John surgery is very common in baseball, but it's very uncommon in football. Um, so it's very odd, it's very unorthodox. But if it's gonna make him get better, then that's what they need to do. You know what I mean? So I hope he gets better. Probably with a speedy recovery because that's a surgery that takes a while to recover from. In my
Right.
opinion, I think the Tommy John surgery is basically the surgery to replace your ACL just in your arm. It's easily comparable to that because it has a long term effect on you. As for what's his name again? CJ
CJ
Beathard.
Beathard.
Yeah. I mean, in his 4 games, he didn't do bad. I mean, 62% of his passes were completed. In comparison to Nick Mullins, 64%. So that's not really a big gap. Um, and I get that the 49ers aren't in the playoff hunt anymore, so like that doesn't really matter. Um, what does matter is this. I think it matters, but it doesn't. For one, it doesn't matter. Obviously, of course, they're not going to be in the playoffs this year. It doesn't matter. But what really matters is this. Like I said with Nick Mullins, he needs to step up and recover. So if Jimmy G does leave, he can take his place. But if that doesn't happen, CJ Beathard is going to have to step up and take Nick Mullins' place because, again, he's going to have to heal up from that Tommy John surgery, and that takes a while to recover from. Um, so with that said, go up to both of them. I hope Nick Mullins heals very quickly, which is probably not going to happen because it's Tommy John. Um, but we do hope for speedy recoveries anyway, and we'll see where it goes from here. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, let me just follow up on what you said. I hope Nick Mullins recovers, has a speedy recovery and a full recovery at that. Tommy John's, especially, it happens a lot to pitchers, I know, some of them don't end up becoming the same, and some of them go right back to the way they are. So I mean, it all depends on Nick Mullens and his body and everything like that. But going to CJ Beathard, let me tell you something. I don't see enough productivity out of CJ Beathard in order for them to win this game against Arizona. Just talk about the game against Arizona, okay?
Right.
I don't see enough productivity in CJ Beathard for them to win, especially the fact that Arizona Cardinals defense is slowly creeping into the top 10. And I mean, CJ Beathard's gonna have a really good game, but I just can't see it happening against this defense. But I do wish him the best of luck. Now here's what I'm interested in: the draft, the NFL draft coming up. Okay, so
Mhm.
San Fran, right? Suppose with CJ Beathard, I expect them to lose the next two games. Okay, I
Right.
expect the San Francisco 49ers to lose the next two games. When they lose the next two games, depending on what type of position they're going to have in this draft, they could have a chance to draft a QB. And honestly, that wouldn't be a bad investment. I don't think it would be. I'd probably do that. First round, I'd probably draft a QB. Let me explain why. Okay. You could talk about the corners. Well, guess what? Richard Sherman will come back. Richard Sherman's back, but I expect him to be a lot better next season than this season. Okay. Because he has had some slow seasons, but then we can look back to a year ago with the Niners and how good he was then. So I do expect Richard Sherman to come back and be at his full potential. Right now, I just don't see him at his full potential right now. But I do think it would be a safe bet for the San Francisco 49ers to draft a quarterback here. I
Right.
do
Yeah,
think
I agree.
that. Because think about who they lost. They lost Salah. They not yeah, I think it's Salah. I believe that was his name. I believe that's what it was. Um, they lost him. They lost Nick Bosa. They lost help me out here. I know there's
George
more.
Kittle. George Kittle's lost. Jimmy G's
George Kittle.
lost.
Right. But here's the thing. Now people are like, well, Jimmy G's gonna come back, so why do you think they should draft a quarterback? Well, think about it this way.
There's rumors that he might not even stay.
Not even I don't even care about the rumors because until I find out like more about them, because there's rumors about everything. You know what I'm saying? I can
Right.
never believe these rumors. Like there were rumors about Odell Beckham going to the Minnesota Vikings. Couldn't believe it. There were rumors about James Harden going to Brooklyn Nets. We believed it, but it never happened. And the
Yeah.
Nets slowly started creeping away from him. So I don't it's not it has nothing to do with the trade rumors. What I will say is this. Jimmy Garoppolo, he has spent you want to say in San Fran?
Yeah. He got. I think he was there. He got drafted. Oh, not drafted. He got traded there in
17.
2018,
2017.
something like that.
It was 2017 because I remember that was the same year that the Patriots and the Jaguars went to playoffs in the AFC Championship, and I remember San Fran beat the Jaguars that year when Jimmy Garoppolo came in. So
Yeah,
I
and then
2017 he came in.
for
This is
like the first
2020.
4 games, and then he got injured.
So about 2.5, 3 years he's been here, right?
Hmm.
Most of that time here, he's been hurt.
He's been hurt.
Right. So again, you gonna keep going through the same thing. And this year, I'm gonna be honest with you, Jimmy Garoppolo was not that good.
Right.
This was not the same Jimmy Garoppolo that was playing
Last
the
year.
previous year, last year. This is not the same. It was not the same guy. Okay, he's been hurt most of the time he's been here. So do you want to go through this again? Do you want to go through switching QBs between Nick Mullens and CJ Beathard again? No,
Right.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I mean, and when he gets back, and when next season comes, they're gonna have a lot of their pieces back because again, they are hurt. They have a lot of hurt players, and I mean, I can't name them all right off the bat, but the biggest ones I can think of is like you said, Nick Bosa, George Kittle. I think that guy Salah or Salam, I think his name is. I can't remember his
There was
name,
a
but
point in the season where they were using their C team to play their games.
right. So I mean, so with that being said, that's why I draft a quarterback first round. A, you don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get hurt again, and you need that backup, right? B, okay, Jimmy Garoppolo's contract is fairly high.
Right.
This year, he has not been playing up to his contract. Okay, he has a fairly high contract. Okay, and I always talk about the high contracts and everything like that. He has a fairly high contract, and he has not lived up to it this year. Last year, if you want to say he's lived up to it, it's debatable. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
he did have a very good defense on his team too. That really did a lot for him. So with that being said, and don't get me wrong, a lot of guys in the Niners love Jimmy Garoppolo, but how much he could get hurt again? Okay. B, how much money are you willing to invest in him if he does not turn back to his Super Bowl appearance QB self or 2019 self? How much money do you want to invest in him if that Jimmy Garoppolo was gone? Okay.
Right.
That's B. C, you get this rookie, right? Don't you think it'll motivate Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit more to keep that job? Because I can go back to last year with Aaron Rodgers, right? And he had a decent year, but I don't think it was that great. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think it was that great. I could have made an argument that Kirk Cousins last year was better than Aaron Rodgers. I could have definitely made that argument. Okay.
Right.
But guess what? You draft Jordan Love, then what? Aaron Rodgers certainly goes back to being an MVP.
Yeah, right.
So you get this rookie quarterback. Think about how much good things could come out of it. And you could be like, well, that's a waste of a pick. It's not a waste of a pick because you don't know what could happen to Jimmy Garoppolo. And you can get a defensive lineman all you want. You can go after Kwity Paye. You can go after another wide receiver. You can go get Jamar Chase if you wanted to, which is impossible right now, but still. You can get anybody you want, right? But what's the sense of it if you don't got a quarterback to back them up?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. This year, in this draft, if I'm the San Francisco 49ers GM, I am drafting a QB. Who could you possibly draft? Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Kyle Trask. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sam Ehlinger is a good quarterback. Ian Book, if you want to go like later in the rounds. But honestly, I'm thinking of right now was Mac Jones and Trey Lance. But like, that's what I would do if I'm the Niners. Get a quarterback. Put some fire inside Jimmy Garoppolo. Have a backup plan in case Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, so you don't got to keep switching between Mullens and CJ Beathard. If you have trust in Mullens to back up your team next year, then keep Mullens. You know what I'm saying? If you have trust with CJ Beathard going on, then fine. But clearly, you don't have trust in any of those two because the Niners are looking at NFL practice squad QBs. So clearly, you don't have enough trust in them. So get a rookie quarterback next year in the first round, okay, to back up Jimmy Garoppolo in case, God forbid, knock on wood, because we never want to see anybody get hurt. But just in case he does, get a backup QB to take his place, okay. Like to fire up Jimmy Garoppolo to play better, and not only that, you have a second option in case you believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is not worth the money that was originally on his contract. Or in your case, if they are thinking about trading him, which I highly doubt, but just in case.
Right. And obviously you gotta look at that. And two, we don't know if Nick Mullens is gonna be, the same after the Tommy John surgery, which I actually forgot to tell you guys how that works. It's in my last claim. They basically take a grafted tendon to replace the damaged ligament. And after all of that, they get a healthy tendon that's basically like harvested from another area, or just basically, a healthy donated one, and they replace it from wherever the tendon was taken from. So we don't even know if that's if he's even gonna be good enough for the same after that. And by the way, if you guys want to learn more about the Tommy John surgery, I'll leave a link to it in the description down below for you guys to go check out. And obviously CJ Beathard, he hasn't played enough, but obviously he hasn't shown a lot of flash either. So I really do think I do agree with your claim on this. I really think the 49ers need to look into a quarterback this draft. And maybe it could light a fire in Jimmy G's heart to just go out there and pull an Aaron Rodgers and try and get an MVP season out. And also in case if he gets hurt, like you said, it's that that backup plan, so you have to go back to Mullens or Beathard. But yeah, with that said, hopefully Nick Mullens has a speedy recovery and a full recovery, and good luck to him, good luck to CJ Beathard, and good luck to the 49ers, and we'll see how this goes.